wonky too. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sequin Achak from Spring Spirit Nation, and tonight I'm very excited to present to you Joey Stylez. Joey Stylez started his freestyle hip hop rapping when he was in high school, but never took it serious until after grade 12. Joey, can you help me a little bit more with your intro?
Yeah, you got it down. At first, it was like a party trick. Freestyling. Like, tell me a word. There's a bunch of us around just having a little cipher, and then there'd be people at the party, and you want to put on a show for everybody. So we'd be rapping, freestyle battling each other, and I really fell in love with it after high school. I stopped playing basketball, and I got more into the arts. I was breakdancing, DJing, doing graffiti, rapping, and I found that of those four elements of hip hop, that rap was my thing. I like speaking. I like telling a story. I like putting words together. It was something that interested me. And based off that, it's just one thing led to another, which led to another. And as you get more successful, it's like your career kind of takes a life of its own. And then it just leads you places you never thought you'd end up being. And all of a sudden, you realize you're in situations that, whoa, this looks like I could be in a movie right now. What's going on here?
Yeah, that sounds so cool. Joey, very happy to have you here. And I'm going to just get right into the questions. With all of that, who is Joey Stylez then? And who is Joey Stylez now?
When I was a young dude, man, all I really cared about was like trying to be like infamous. That's like a lot of young guys want to be. They want to have like a reputation. They want people to know about them, to talk about them, and have a different type of respect. It's almost like you think that like being feared is as beautiful as being respected. But as I grew up and evolved, I realized, no, man, I want to be loved. I don't want to be hated and feared. I want to be loved. And that came with growing up in Saskatchewan. There's really that gang mentality there. A lot of my friends, a lot of my family I grew up with, they got stuck in that lifestyle. And I pray for them, and I don't look down on them. If I see them, man, it's a big hug. It's love. But I'm very happy I never went down that route, because so many of my friends have been incarcerated, um, died violent deaths, died of suicide, died of overdoses because they took that street life. And I speak on that because I lived that for many years, and that's my family. That's who I grew up with. That's my circle I grew up with. So before, I was seeking one type of respect, and now I'm seeking a different type of respect. So I kind of like just grew up, and I came with things like my music taking off and having opportunities presented to me that I guess some of my peers and my friends and stuff never got. And the most important thing was having my kids. That just took it to a different level.
Awesome. So, Joey, we have a question already from a Kimwan. Kimwan asks, what is your Indian name? Do you feel comfortable sharing that with us?
Um, I never got an Indian name in ceremony. I got one. I got a couple, but I was really one to. I was talking to your dad, actually. Your dad's someone I love so much. I got so much love and respect for your whole family. And I heard you guys might know more about this, but I heard you should be able to like really speak the language to get a name, because otherwise it's just like more of like again like a party trick. Like, you get to show off my Indian name, but when you can speak that language, you can speak that Nehiyawin, that native tongue, whatever, Nishnabé or Haida, you can speak that tongue, then you earned that name, instead of it just being something that's cool because you're in love with the spiritual way of life or the holy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was living back home in Saskatchewan, now I live on the West Coast in Haida, I was really just any chance I get to go back there. I love seeing your dad because he has so much sacred, precious knowledge that I'm trying to learn from. And that knowledge actually also made me a better person, because I realized that a lot of these situations where there's bullets flying at me, where there's jail sentences come my way, Creator kept me out of that because he knew eventually I would be able to contribute to helping people help themselves. Because it'd be unfair for me to say I'm like a healer. I heal people, because I don't know. I'm trying not to speak from a place where I sound vain or feel vain, because I used to come from that place. Now I just want to like, listen up. These are the tools I had to get myself through the storm. You got these same tools, you got these same outlets. So let's do this. And to answer the question is, my name I got was Gray Owl. And there's a weird story about that even, like, because, Gray Owl was like the fake Indian guy, the fake Nietzsche up in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, right? Like the guy that was like British and he pretended to be like, he became a famous chief, hunter, gatherer, medicine man. So my friend was in jail and he always called me, and I was really unimpressed with him because I was helping him so much with music all the time. I was like, yo, you got to stay out of trouble, man. You got so much potential. We can get you on TV. We can get you on the radio. Just stay out of trouble. And he kept going back to jail, back to jail, back to jail. So I was kind of like trying to like discipline him a bit. So I wasn't answering his calls for like the first month of him being in there. Finally, I broke in. I'm like, brother's in there. He's lonely. I'm gonna talk to him. What's up, man? How you doing? Gray Owl, what's up? So when he was saying it, he was joking, right? It wasn't serious. Next thing you know, I'm in the hood in Winnipeg. It was my teacher before I met your dad. And he passed on. His name was Roderick Pelche, a great teacher, just a beautiful soul, gentle soul. It wasn't about money or popularity or being seen as powerful and famous. He just really was just one to connect with people and help people. I was just, of course, I was wild back then. I probably smoking blunts back then. I was a pretty wild kid. I was in his house. We were shooting Indian Outlaw. He's actually the guy in Indian Outlaw, the older guy standing beside Jesus. I was like, yo, I want my Indian name. Just wild, a rock star coming from Los Angeles. He's like, you'd have one of my names. I'm like, which one's that? He was like, Gray Owl. I was like, okay, cool. And I just like, Gray Owl, what the heck? Sky was calling me that last week, this guy. So that was that one. And I don't know how to say it, but Uncle Frank Aspas, he gave me a name as well. Rolling Thundercloud. So I don't know the exact pronunciation. So like I said, right now I don't even deserve those names because I want to earn it the right way in ceremony. Where I'm learning Cree right now. I think a lot of us younger generation are learning Cree, picking up. And it's very important that we do, because if we don't learn that language, then we're all going to be stuck only knowing English. And it's good to have a connection to where we came from, our ancestors, because that's a source of guidance when we're lost. That's a source of who we are, knowing who we are. And that's a source of strength. And every day there's some type of war being fought, like spiritual warfare, physical warfare, mental battles we have with ourselves. So that helps us get through those battles.
Right. I really appreciate that you called it tools, because the tools are there, right? You just have to know where to access them. And in a lot of cases, like when you received your name, Gray Owl, it was somehow, some way things happen, and energetically, it presents itself. And so thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that's the truth. No one really knows that.
Yeah. So when you made the transition, when I asked the question, Joey Stylez then and Joey Stylez now, I know that a lot of people, when they change, or, when they start to develop, how you must have faced some type of adversity. So how did you deal with adversity?
I was like criticized at first, because I was really in the streets. Like I was really, really, really in the streets. Like no joke. There's bullets flying at me. There was people around me getting life sentences handed to them. So when I started to just see that this was not something it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, basically, you know what I mean? Like after seeing one funeral to seeing a second funeral, after having money put on your head where people are out to get you, after cops are out to get you, and then after you're not going to see a brother again for 10 years or 15 years, it's just like, damn, that hurts. And you're always losing people. So you become so jaded. So I was really in that world, right? And then what happened was, when I slowly started to like make songs like Sugarcane, Cool Running, and I even went further with the artsy type stuff, like the song I did called Bastards and Mr. Milkman, people were like, did this guy lose his mind? What's up with this guy? What? Mr. Milkman? And people were laughing at me. But they didn't know. Yeah, I'm on an interview right now, buddy. Look, this is my son. Come in here.
We get to meet his son.
You want to come in here? I'm doing an interview right now. What's up? Say hi.
Hey, buddy. Hi. Nice to see you.
What's your name? Say your name. Matisse? Yeah. You go watch that show and I'll be out there in a bit. Yeah,
He's so
that's my boy.
precious.
Yeah, it's my dog. So to answer your question, so that was the adversity I first faced, was because I thrived in the street. You know, like I really did well there, and I think it was a blessing also there because I grew up with the right people. I had the right family members, so I was able to navigate without having the same amount of worries that other people would have, like being worried about where they can go and where they can't go. That wasn't really an issue for me. But the issue for me was when I was trying to go straight and narrow, which I did, and I was getting called a sellout. When I first went to that world, the cops still thought I was a criminal, so they'd be going on my shows and trying to stop my shows. RCMP would be going to community and saying, don't bring this guy here. He's a gang member. And I've never been a gang member. Like, honestly, I've never been a gang member, but I've been around many gang members. So that was a thing why people thought I was a gang member, just because guilty by association, they say, right? So it was not an easy transition, but it was the best thing. I wouldn't be where I am right now with my daughter, my son, my wife, soon to be wife, and it's been great.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
We have a comment here from Hazel. She says, "Tell us about sugarcane." Joey, everybody loves sugarcane. Sugarcane. Let me look back to my notes. Sugarcane. You were nominated and you won at the Aboriginal People's Choice Awards for Best Music Video in 2009. That song, people still love it. Tell us about it.
Well, I was talking with Sav for a while. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I met him just one time in Regina in a nightclub, and we talked back and forth, and he wanted to do stuff. I was like, I know how to do stuff, man. I know these producers that are working with Outkast and John Legend and T.I. and Rihanna, you name Eminem. We could do some stuff. And back then, Sav was like, I want to invest in myself. I was like, well, let's get this track out. I have a concept for a record. I've been thinking about this name, Sugarcane. There's something about the name. I just like this name. I thought of the name. I never done this for any other song. I had the name before I had the concept, and we didn't have no direction for it. So we just whipped it up, cooked it up in the kitchen, the studio.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to try it. I want to try the first line. Okay. Yeah. My sugar cane. I met her at the discotheque. She stepped to me with Stylez pep. Is that right?
Stylish
pep.
So when you're coming just like you're all stylish, you come in your hair. Yeah. It's a feel-good song. I the good thing about music is people they want another one of that, but they're not gonna get another one of that because music's one of a kind. Every song has a different time. Like the stars were lined up a certain way, the moon was lined up a certain way, the energy was there. It's with the right people around me. I was coming out of a different city. I had different interests at the time, so that's a beautiful song that brings me back to that time in my life, and I feel good about it.
Right. So kudos to that. Was back in 2009. In 2018, you won the Saskatchewan Music Awards for Indigenous Artist of the Year. What types of music were you producing or creating in 2019?
For that record, I put out the album The Star Chief, and it was straight hip hop. It was like all hip hop. I've kind of learned from my mistakes. I think in the past with the Black Star album and another album called Feather Plus Rosary, I was kind of all over the place. You know what I mean? I'd make a couple rock records that I really liked, and then I'd make some rap records that still had that hard, that street sound the life I grew up knowing, my circle of peers I grew up with. So it had that element, and then all of a sudden there'd be a love record. So it's all over the place. I couldn't make people happy. So now I kind of my projects is hey, this project's this lane. This project's this lane. So the Star Chief's hip hop. And with that project, I was able to connect more with my core audience, but not stray too far away from my commercial sound that I'm trying to build on. Because I want, to be honest, right now, you heard it here, I want #1 world hits. I want Grammys. I'm not thinking, a Juno's going to be great, but I'm thinking I want them Grammys and the Billboard Awards. And this is still what I want. Nothing's changed. Awesome. I still want that.
So we have a comment here from Lindsay in British Columbia. Lindsay said, I nailed it. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, you did. You did. I need backup singer, I'm gonna hit you up, okay? Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down. So we have another question here. Where do you
Yeah.
originate from?
I grew up in Saskatoon, born in North Battleford. I'm from Moosomin First Nation. Don't
Yay.
confuse Moosomin First Nation with Moosomin the town, because that's like salt and pepper. That's like sugar. You can't even compare the two. One's like a nice rural like farm place. My Reserve is a beautiful traditional place, but one place would be like where like the town folk would be and the outlaws would be from my res. You know what I mean? Like bull
Yeah,
riders and horse thieves and bootleggers, and that's what it's like back home in the hills. So
you heard it here, people.
that's where I call home, Moosomin First Nation.
Awesome. I'm actually
Yeah.
very proud with a lot of developments happening in Moosomin right now.
Yeah.
As
Chief
yeah,
Brad's doing great.
yeah, absolutely. Joey, what's new with you?
We're just building a studio. We have the studio out here I've been building attached to our house. It's called Blessed Street Studios. So Stress Street is obviously our lifestyle club, our group of guys that there's some sisters in there too that we our goal is to accelerate in all fields, whatever we're in. Like some are musicians, some are TV personalities. We have people doing workshops, producers, rock stars, you name it. We have everything. And I wanted to do something where I could kind of like help artists get to like the next level, because there's so many people are always hitting me up and they want to work with on music and stuff. But to be fair to myself, like some people just aren't at my level yet. They haven't invested the money. If I invested the time, they haven't put the years in. So I'm like, you know what? If you want to work with me, I want to hear you rap 2 hours a day, and I want you to save up this much money and buy a beat from this producer. Come on, invest in yourself, because I invest in myself. If you want to work with me, you better be ready to invest in yourself, because if you're not a weirdo doing some weird side stuff, because that to me, character reference is a big thing if I'm going to be working with somebody. So, Blessed Street Studios I'm trying to make a next generation of superstars. Like you need a logo, we got it. You need a video, we got it. You need beats, we can do that. You need studio time, photo shoot, whatever you need, come to Blessed Street Studios, one-stop shop to make you into a star. That's like kind of like the dream.
That sounds really, really good. And it's
and sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I have something else. I don't know why it slipped my mind. So I'm about to release a single called Ding-a-Ling. I'm playing guitar on there. It's my first track. I learned guitar in this COVID business, so I play guitar on that track. And I have a 3-chapter mini documentary coming out, really showing my new life with my family, Haiguai, the work I'm doing with Wanisco In. Yeah, I feel good about where I am at life right now. If things would have been different earlier on, like people were projecting me to be, as big as big gets in 2011, 2012 area. But if that would have happened, I wouldn't have met my soon-to-be wife, Carson, have my kids. And then to me, that's the biggest victory God could have ever given me, was having those kids. So things happen for a reason. I'm here where I am right now, and I feel good. I think I'm making the best music of my life, and focus. So them Grammys, here we come, Grammys. Let's get them awards. Let's get that paper.
A little FYI, I'm loving Superpower. You released
so
that in
much.
2019.
Yeah.
We have a question from Ray Masascapo. Ray asks, who would you most like to collaborate with?
Indigenous or non-Indigenous? Can you answer me that?
Let's go Indigenous.
Okay, let's keep it cool.
Yeah.
It was Northern Cree, but then I just did that track with them. Those are my boys, man. They go hard. I would have to say I'm gonna go with Redbone.
Redbone?
I met the old man, Pat Vegas, and he was so cool. We did a show together at Inspire Awards. I'm homies with his son PJ too. Mm-hmm. And his dad's like, yo, man, come talk to me, come sit with me. And I was feeling so humble. I'm like, yo, it's so cool. PJ Vegas's dad wants to sit with me, asking me to sit with him. He's like, yo, see you perform. How many platinum records do you have? I'm like, I ain't got none yet. He's like, you're gonna have lots, trust me. And I just felt so good hearing that from the OG himself, because who doesn't love Come and Get Your Love? White, Native, Black, Chinese, doesn't matter what you are. Absolutely. You like that song. And Pat Vegas was giving me that love. It felt real good.
All right. So I hope you're happy with that answer, Ray.
Mhm.
We have a question here from Glenna. What artists inspired you, Indigenous and non-Indigenous?
It's weird, with music. I like my first rap stuff. I really liked. Obviously, I liked the story of Tupac. You know how Tupac was like a revolutionary type brother who fought for the well-being. Even though he was like day and night, sometimes you hear him curse out women, but then you hear him praise women. So I like that duality that he recognized there's good and bad in things, and his story of how he could have a talk with CNN and then turn around and do a hood interview. He swear every second word's a swear, but he could still talk with a guy like, what's the dude's name there? Larry Brown. Larry Brown? Or the dude on CNN? You know what
I
I'm talking
think
about,
so.
right?
I
The
think
white
so.
man with the
Yeah.
glasses. So he'd have a talk with him. He'd be educated, talking about black history, black rights, talking about like where we're at with social injustices. But then he'd turn around and he'd rep for the hood. Like, so I like that. But musically, like for my commercial type of music, I would say like the Beatles. Like their hooks are crazy. Like their choruses, I just simple beats, simple choruses. They get stuck in your head, and they're a lot of records about timeless things. Like let's just say you make a song about a ninja bike. Ninja bikes might go expired, and then you made a song about something that's no one's gonna understand in 100 years. But 100 years from now, people are still gonna want to be in love. So they have so many love records, and that's why I
Yeah.
still do those love songs and do kind of like universal themes that will never expire.
Right. Awesome. We have an awesome question here
Oh,
from Lindsay, again from British
Lindsay.
Columbia. Hello, Lindsay. Lindsay asks,
Yeah.
what role does ceremony play for you in your creative expression?
It definitely plays a big part because since connecting with, like I said, Roderick and then Frank introduced me to your dad. Now your dad's my teacher, and I just love your dad so much. He's the greatest, Barry Haneke. Um, I feel like now I've always had a relationship with Creator, and I've always, my whole life we've gone to sun dances. I'm a Cree Métis, so I really was strongly raised with the Plains Creeways, with the Sundance lodges and the feasts, going around dances, like giveaways and you name it. But also, the Métis Catholic part was going into church. So I grew up like that, but I never really, really fully started to get it until I started having my kids and then meeting like your dad teaching me a lot of the ways. So now I was always digging my songs from a place, that was I couldn't really explain. But now, one second, okay, one sec, buddy. So now I'm digging from a place of like a higher power, like I feel like I've connected with the Great Spirit. So when I'm pulling those songs out, like it's like I can't even explain where they're coming from, like I couldn't before. But now I'm really pulling them out from somewhere, and they're just writing themselves on the phone. They're writing themselves on the guitar. Like everything's just happening itself because I've connected to a place through ceremony that has connected me with I have a better relationship with Creator now. I'll put it that
Right.
way. So my creative process is just,
Right. That's really beautiful. Ray asks us another question. He says, do you ever think of collaborating with artists from the US, or have you collaborated with
Yeah,
Indigenous artists from the US?
I have. Yes. There's a couple of there's a few rappers I've worked with down there. I really got a lot of love for, like Sten Jody. He's on Stress Street. I work with Red Cloud, from Lightning Cloud. Tall Paul, we got some music in the cut. Of course, my brother Chase in Manhattan. Me and him had some songs. We got more songs. I'm gonna start working with the homie Savell the Native when I heard his stuff, man. I think that's how you say it. You got to look him up, Savell the Native. That boy goes hard. He's from Oregon, and just he's got it. I could really see him taking off to like the
Right.
bigger market, not just Indigenous people. Like I'm able to. I think I have a good eye for spotting the it factor, and that he's got it. Yeah.
Right. So I
One
mentioned
sec,
earlier.
one second, Cass. Got to go hold
Sure.
down the little homie. So when I'm up
Absolutely.
here, when I put on pause, you could just go hard. And you could talk about whatever you want, but just try to be nice to me, okay? Be gentle.
I'll be gentle. Okay, so Joey is a father, and he is tending to his son right now, which is super cool. How cool is that? So on Wikipedia, I actually searched up Joey Stylez, and I'll just tell you a little bit more about him from Wikipedia. I know. Here we go. So he often says he was both naturally good at making music, but worked hard to get where it is today. He never had his break until 2006 with his cult classic music video Long Way dropped, and it showcased the hard life that the Plains Indians of Canada are forced to live. So that's just a little
back
bit
at
of
it.
Wikipedia. Welcome back, Joey.
You hear me?
So I just told the listeners about back in 2006 in Long Way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Joey.
that video
I'm
was
going to sort.
yeah, you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear
Long
you.
Way. That's crazy. That was kind of the video that kind of like made my career take off. And one of the people I consider my big brother, his name's Darren Harper. He was the one who kind of put that together for me. You know, he's always taken care of me. He's always made sure I was cool. You know what I mean? Like I said, Saskatoon's a tough city. I've been to cities all across North America. I lived in Los Angeles, in and out of Detroit. Lived in Atlanta, Georgia, Toronto. You know, you name it, Winnipeg, and Saskatoon's a tough city. So on that, you know, I called my homies. He called up his boys. And a lot of those guys in that video are now dead, or they're incarcerated, doing life sentences in jail. They've been to jail. So it was the weird thing was I did that video, and then all of a sudden the author for the Saskatoon Star Phoenix hit me up, and then or this one writer, and then he's like, "Yo, man, I want to do a story about you." I'm like, "Cool." So I did this story. It never came out for a while. I was like, "Oh, whatever happened to the story." Next thing you know, it was like the first day of the year. Would have been 2000, the start of 2007, like January 1st or January 2nd, I think it was, like the first newspaper they put out of the year. My dad's like, "Holy cow!" He calls me. He's like, "You never guess what?" I'm like, "Oh." He had this sense of urgency in his voice, right? So when he had this urgency in his voice, I thought maybe something bad happened. Like I've heard that before in someone's comic, someone died or something like that. Someone's in jail or someone's in trouble. I'm like, what? What? He's like, "You're on the front page of the newspaper." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they're talking about your video, your life, where you came from." Because my mom and dad, they're superheroes. They've been through so much, you know, like to get to where they are, you know. And my dad's like so proud of me. I'm like, the front page of Saskatoon, the front page of the newspaper in Regina. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, it's not like it's Double XL magazine or anything like that because, you know, I have like such high goals. I was excited, but I wasn't as excited as he was, you know, like he thought like, "This is it. You're famous now." You know, I was like, well, and the next thing, you know, like a week later, the Double XL magazine calls me up. They're like, "Yo, we want to do an interview with you." And I thought it was a prank. My dad was playing on me because I said that to him. And then sure enough, somehow a journalist from Double XL magazine seen that post on somewhere. I don't know how he found me, and then he did an article and put me in Double XL magazine. So it's like when you put things out there in the universe, you got to watch what you say. You know, my mom said that, careful what you put out there, careful what you wish for, because it might come true. That wasn't a wish, but I put it out there and it came back to me. So that song did a lot for my career. Yeah.
So the viewers are really loving your answers. We have this is
Thanks.
actually where we're going with inspiring words. Cynthia Netmaker, she says, or she asks, "What inspiring quote would you give First Nations people going through difficult times?" Then she adds, "People look up to you, and it would be great to have a quote connected to you representing Moosomin First Nation."
Oh, yeah. You know, the one thing, like, you know, like everyone tries to make their little quotes and sayings. You know, a lot of people do at least. Mine, one thing I made up, and it'd be nice if one day, you know, when my time's up and I go home back, you know, my life here is done and I go to the next place, the happy place, we'll call it. It goes like, it's like a little 6-word saying. So it's fact is for the blind, faith is for the bold. That's my saying. Just that's it. Just have faith. You know, have faith. Everything's gonna be all right. You don't need to have these, like, you know, people want explanation. Why can't you see God? Well, tell me where's this. I just have faith. I'm good. You know, everything's gonna work out. Just have a plan, and then just let that faith guide you. You know, if you have faith in yourself, you have faith in God, you have faith in your family, your circle, everything will be okay. And sometimes, you know, I've seen that like a creator has, sometimes it seems like bad things are happening, and then like years later when you get to look back, you're like, wow, if that never happened, then this wouldn't have happened, and the best thing in your life wouldn't have happened if the bad thing never happened. So if you don't have faith, you might not get to that place where you see the rainbow after that storm. You know what I mean? So I think faith's the main thing you got to have in this life, because my parents never believed I was going to be where I am now. They thought it was like a little hobby or something like that, you know, or like a little pastime. Especially my dad. He's like, yep, you'll do this. He probably thought I was going to jump into Indian politics like him or something, you know, but I'm happy where I am, you know. I'm on the res now. I'm living in Skidegate, Haida Gwaii. It's a beautiful place. I told my dad, I'm like, yo, you're in the city, you're in Saskatoon. I'm living on the res. What's up with you? And he's like, that's not a res, that's a resort. That's because it honestly is. We look out there, there's ocean, you'll see orcas, dolphins. It doesn't really snow here. There's totem poles everywhere. It's a beautiful place to be.
There you go, Cynthia Netmaker from Moosomin First Nation. Fact is for the blind, faith is for the bold.
Bold, yeah, you got it.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question from a Candace Longjohn. She says, hi there, Sequin and Joey. Question, how similar or different was performing during National Aboriginal Day on this past June 21st? I'm not sure.
I didn't know what she's talking about. Probably there's been a couple times I performed on, they call it Ab Day Live, which is like the biggest show. You know, I performed in front of like, so I forget, the viewership's crazy, like 1 million viewers sometimes or something like that total, or pretty high. It's up there. One time I think there was 55 or 60,000 people, and I performed there a couple times. And playing there versus playing like a smaller show, like when that crowd just is loving every step, you go this way, they cheer, you go that way, they cheer. It's like lightning takes over you, and then for that 30-minute set or that 45 or hour, whatever you have, lightning just goes and it's taking you, it's guiding you, then all of a sudden you're done. You're like, oh wow, I just did that. And sometimes I get that feeling from smaller crowds, but I'm fairly sensitive to energy, and I think that probably comes from being nomadic and just having to like read my environment, you know, like because I'm going to a lot of unfamiliar places, so I have to just adjust to the room or adjust to the environment around me. And I take that with me on stage. So sometimes, you know, I always give my best show. I always perform like it's my last show. That's what I try to do, no matter if there's 2 people there or 2 million people there. But, you know, if everyone's laid back, I'll kind of like give like an intense performance where I'm in one spot. But if people are going nuts, they're going to see me like looking like a tornado on the stage.
Yeah, that's really cool. So thank you for taking time out to speak with us.
I appreciate it.
Joey, can you, it seems like when I put the shout out or the call out earlier, I was like, what is your favorite Joey Stylez song? And everybody said Sugarcane. Can you just give us like 30 seconds of the song, freestyle?
Okay. I'm a man in black like Johnny Cash, dirty-minded, filthy trash, let's rock and roll. She and I, we steal the show. I am Elvis with a dash of Lennon. She is Monroe, got me spinning like the world revolves. She on swerve like Mardi Gras. Gritty grime, that sound like me. Hey, independent, that sound like she. Hey, my sugar cane. We was made to walk this fame. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's a little 20, 30-second clip for you.
You're the best, Joey. And from Treaty 6
thank you. Appreciate it.
And the territories.
Yeah, Treaty 6. That's home right there.
We love you and keep creating more beautiful music.
Yeah, nothing but love and respect. Everyone that took the time out of their days, this crazy COVID times, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the beautiful questions. And I hope all you guys are doing well. And just last little bit of advice is during this time, I could just kind of fold and went in the hole, crawled in the hole. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something right now that I couldn't do before because I had no time. So I picked up a guitar and learned how to play guitar the last 6 months. Right. It's the best, you know? So I think everybody should be teaching themselves something new right now.
All right. So thank you, Joey. Joey, just someone who had wanted you to say or sing a couple lines from Nomadic. If you would just sing a couple lines from.
Which one is that?
Yeah, just from Nomadic. I'm not sure.
It's
his next song. Oh, Nomadic. Sorry, Lindsay. Maybe I can't read it right, but thank you, Joey.
Yeah. Shout outs to Lindsay. What's up, Lindsay? Thanks for the questions. And you guys all have a great evening. And stay strong. Stay shining.
Good night, people.
Yeah, good night.